education system is also affected by the pandemic, leading to the near total closure of a face-to-face class in all levels because of the virus threat. This continuing the education and adapt the current situation for the education system to be more flexible. Most of the country implements the long-distance learning, which we called online class or virtual class. Many applications, platforms, and sources have already been released and implemented which can be used in the field of education. This study intended to present manual of the Google Classroom application to help the teachers and students by facilitating instructions. Good morning everyone, I am Jeneline Dumulot from BTVTED 4th year major in drafting, and I am the leader for this research entitled Designing Google Classroom Application Manual for Teachers and Students. I am proud to introduce to you my co-researchers in this study, Eunice A. Abanes, Patrick Allen I. Andres, Shaira May Malazarte, and John Michael Tolentino. And we want to acknowledge our very own panelists for this study. First is our research critic, Dr. Renelyn M. Udaundo, our research chairman, Ma'am Maria Anita B. Añonuevo, and our research panel member, Mr. Iluminado L. Malia. Reasons for conducting the study. Number 1. Help the students and teachers to work and collaborate easier in Google Classroom. Number 2. Teachers and students frequently lack necessary core training and abilities to effectively use Google Classroom application. And number 3, the manuals of Google Classroom application found on the internet are outdated and not fully accessible by the readers. This study aims to design a Google Classroom application manual for teachers and students of 3rd year BTVTED Drafting Technology of Marikina Polytechnic College for the school year of 2021 to 2022. More specifically, it seeks to answer the following questions. Number 1. How do the teachers and students of 3rd year BTVTED Drafting major respondents evaluate the manual developed in Google Classroom application in terms of the following aspects? Letter A, accessibility. Letter B, accuracy. Letter C, clarity. And D, design. And lastly, usefulness. Number 2, is there a significant difference between the evaluation of the two groups of respondents in the developed Google Classroom manual? Number 3, what comments and suggestions do the teachers and students of 3rd year BTVTED Drafting major offer to further improve the flexibility and effectiveness of using manual in Google Classroom application?
As shown in Table 1, the respondents were consist 27 3rd year BTVTED drafting student and 8 drafting professor from Marikina Polytechnic College who evaluate design Google Classroom manual for teacher and student.
For the findings of the study, the 27 3rd year BTVTED drafting student respondents rated the Google Classroom application manual with an overall weighted mean of 4.37, 4.32, 4.49, 4.53, and 4.51 in terms of accessibility, accuracy, clarity, design, and usefulness, respectively, which are interpreted as acceptable. On the other hand, the 8 drafting professor respondents rated the Google Classroom application manual with an overall weighted mean of 4.38, 4.22, 4.34, 4.47, and 4.34 in terms of accessibility, accuracy, clarity, design, and usefulness, respectively, which are also interpreted as acceptable. There is no significant difference in the evaluation of the two groups of respondents on the designed Google Classroom application manual based on the results produced from the t-test. Most of the comments fell under the following: overlapping of pictures in the text in borders, where there were images and text that overlaps the borders of the pages, which lessen the visibility of some text and creates unbalanced image placement. APA format of references, where there were references that are just put into the end of the manuals directly without the APA format. And add video tutorials, where there were some students and teachers who learn more when watching video tutorials. And for the suggestions, first, test placement. Second, referencing format for the acknowledgement of the resources. Third, balance images with the design. And fourth, provide video tutorials to further understand the steps in Google Classroom application.
Based on the findings of the study, the following conclusions are: first, the developed Google Classroom application manual is appropriate to use by the drafting students and drafting professor. Second, the designed Google Classroom application manual was rated as acceptable by the two groups of respondents, which are the drafting students and drafting professor. And on the findings and conclusion, it is recommended that the designed Google Classroom application manual should be evaluated by larger group to determine if the designed Google Classroom application manual is also acceptable to them. Second, the designed Google Classroom application manual should use a brighter color and adjust the illustration for the effectiveness of its design and layout. Third, the designed Google Classroom application manual should add more hands-on activity on its hands-on part. And last, the designed Google Classroom application manual should be enhanced to the near future for more updating facts and steps of the Google Classroom application.